And while the Matrix itself does pose some very unique mental states, I guess, that are presented half-wit truths, I guess is what the statement I'm going to call them truly is, where the machines tries to argue that humanity is just a lazy breed and that if it wasn't for them making our lives hell, that we just would kill ourselves by sitting in a little fucking box. But no, that is not what a intelligent person would choose. An intelligent person would choose to do something because they have the means and no worries. The reason why we made these boxes is because we were worried about the insects, worried about the elements, worried about the temperature. And now we're worried about our brethren. Instead of the United Nations intention of fostering tolerance, they created new social boogeymens of the drugs or sex or rock and roll or just about anything that wasn't of their Christian religion. Our system was never meant to be that. The day that they did, it was treason. And they're still acting under that principle. For profit. Do not tell me that those inmates are seeing a shred of the funds. They are the ones providing the work, hauling the food out of the fucking ground. They're probably fucking shoveling the fucking coal out of the fucking ground to feed the fucking generators to fucking power the goddamn place. But Uncle Sam owns those fucking power plants that have the nukes anyways, so it's the most efficient. So what's their excuses? It's exploitation, treason, all because they've got a system that puts them in a comfortable, easy, profitable situation. It's not about serving the purpose that it was designed to serve anymore. When you go to the court and the court says, hey, we're going to throw your case out. We recognize that you've stated valid claims that are very serious. We just think that because the state's been putting it in this format that it's not identical to that format. No, it was never demanding any kind of bureaucratic format as long as it states the problem sufficiently to address it with all knowing of the law adjudicator, somebody who knows what is right and what to do in the situation. Somebody who's not interested in the matter. The moment that that is even suspected, that man should be canned. But instead we have a serious plague of legal officials who don't care about anything in the system. You cannot receive justice from the justice system when it is the agents of the justice system who are actively disregarding the law for their alliance. Making everyday people who are not any kind of problem, simply trying to be a citizen, enjoying the rights that are supposed to be guaranteed by this nation that we have struggled already so hard to fucking accomplish. Instead, we get hit with this. A man who can lose his home because the woman he was with decided to cheat, so he ends up in nothing more than a van. So the police decide that they're going to start harassing him. The local population starts harassing him. He does his best to try and appease their complaints. And still, every time I would be parked for too long, the police would say, oh, well, if you don't move it, we're going to seize your vehicle under an ordinance for abandoned vehicles. That is not a legitimate government interest, and it is obviously not abandoned if somebody is living in their vehicle that is simply broke down. Ottawa, Illinois has a policy. Their direct policy is that they are to have 72 hours before there's to affix a sticker or direct the person directly. But they insisted that they were going to put the sticker on my vehicle, even though I was there, and insisted they didn't need to. And it's not a matter of not knowing, it's just being a nuisance. And we do not need to fund a nuisance, especially one that is truly treasonous and supposed to be embodying the functions that we created them for. But too many people have disregarded the fact that the original felonies were only the truly heinous crimes that any sensible person should know is wrong. You don't kill, you don't break into somebody's home, you don't steal, rape, kidnap, dismember. Very simple. Look up the old terms. Common law felony. That is what our nation originally operated on. It has gone so far from that to the point where people are afraid to do anything for fear of the man and the corrupt system that it has become. We do not need to be throttled by a system, one which we have all the tools in place to be able to remedy the present defective functions. There have been new terms of a technocracy which we, the people, could create to eliminate the need for a representative government when any person already has the technology in their back pocket, because the government, under the Lifeline Services program, has established that if you qualify for any government assistance, you're guaranteed a free phone. Of course, they're doing very poor in actually meeting that, and many of those providers are still looking to exploit whatever they can. But the fact remains, in this present society, anybody should be able to have access to a computer where they can actually access the internet. Most people, teens especially these days, we've had all kinds of them sharing every day what it is that they want to eat. We are no longer in a nation where we would have to travel across the nation to have our opinions heard by the duly appointed representative government, whatever, king, nothing. Our word can honestly be heard if it's not lost amongst the fucking what truly is, what's the term that they use? Legally, not blasphemy, it's another religious term that they use to try and outlaw anything that wasn't religious. secular, no, profane. Legal term for profane is anything that is not intelligent, beneficial to society, does not have artistic quality, etc. And in reality, we don't need all these dramas, these rehashing of the same nonsense stories, just using different characters to reenact the same thing. Maybe you got a couple good punchlines that you want to throw out there, but it's very much a large suck of humanity's time to be sitting there. And if we were to try and watch every piece of media ever created, we could not in our present lifespan. I'm not advising to destroy it, as so many foolish cultures have done time and again, only to regret losing the knowledge that was there, or art, or whatever. So many terrible acts are done in a name for a greater good. The most often, and all for an intangible. We could literally end world suffering if we just applied the science that we have presently at our fingertips. DARPA and IBM made those supercomputers, operated on a teraflop, had a gate width of 7 nanometers, superconductive. Scientific American, I believe that was 1999, November. Could have been as early as 2001. But that didn't put it past 20 years. The only reason why we created the patents is to ensure that somebody who actually developed something had a scientific advancement of their own mind, that they were guaranteed the profit that effort was to put it all together for that work product. And then if somebody's going to just rip off their idea, that they're entitled to just compensation for what they could have earned if they were to have been simply not robbed of that work product. A diamond processing unit should be able to be made in an abundant number of ways. So we shouldn't even need the specific science, but having it already handy makes it a lot quicker. So what are they doing? What have they been doing with a superconductive processor for the last 20 years? Everybody's been concerned about, they've got wiretapping and they don't care about any of your rights to privacy. So, who knows, with the way the technology is, they could be doing anything with it. But they're damn sure not giving it to us. Because the way I see it, as I've said, diamond is the most solid substance that we have to work with. Graphene is two-dimensional diamond. You put layers of 2 dimensions. That's what a 3D printer does every day to build something in 3 dimensions. You build one basic block, 6 sides, up, down, left, right, front, back. Give a pass-through rail so that it can send a signal. A handful of input-output functions. But as long as you allow each one of those sides to extend out from individual hinged arms of sorts, a simple extension of one bot locked onto another one on one side alone can easily make a loop smaller than your eye's even going to be able to discern. With a off-site master, which I'm sure will be kept in constant monitoring, making regular backups of the main core process that drives all the nanobots, and then subcarriers within it for each purpose that we as a human race are needing, and then others more dedicated to those that each of us individuals as each identifiable life is actively served to the best of its ability. That is the only true solution to the world's problems. But instead, what are they using it for? Defense? What are they defending? Hackers? No, they were having the pipelines come down even after they had that for quite some time. Were they the ones behind the hacking? Could be. Advancing society? No, it's still being held secret. Research. They did fund the research, and what's happened to it? It was outsourced, if I'm not mistaken, off to Korea or something like that. So, technically, it's not even American science anymore. But who knows what they're doing on their side with it? I've heard that they've circulated already pamphlets amongst the House of potential threats that they already perceive that these nanobots could be programmed hostilely and could be a threat to security. What have they done to be able to make sure that that doesn't be a problem? They sure have not yet, in 20 years, presented any known solution. If everybody's got equal power, there is no means to overpower another. And diamond is not going to overpower another diamond. And while, yes, scientifically speaking, once you get to a certain level at that scientific advancement, any frequency, yes, will be able to obliterate another. But, again, with the core provisions, if it is to presume that no entity wishes to suffer harm, but may choose that degree itself, it must acknowledge the fact that obviously, no, the premise is only to themselves that they can choose harm, not to another. That is another major issue, as I've tried to address in previous attempts to upload to video as well, that there are many different things which the average human speaking English is going to have difficulty understanding even what the root meanings of some of the words we use on a daily basis even truly mean, and how they can place syntax or logistical errors into an AI if it were left in the programming. But obviously those are simple, fine steps that should not be very difficult to run out a algorithm of, okay, how do we identify life? Anything. I don't care about cellular life. It should be preserved. Could be useful. If nothing else, it helps us understand something about something. And right now, we're living in an environment where even those who do understand something about something, half of them don't care anymore. Especially living in a world where we can do all that we can think of and get struck with, oh, no, well, whatever. It's an impossible situation that we're placed into. It should never have been created. I was born here in America. Had a great time in some places. Nothing against the land, but it was stolen. And putting a million cultures in one melting pot is not possible without animosity, chaos, or any number of other problems. Because it doesn't matter what you do. Guess what? There is a religion, a culture, a society that has already come to their own decision on the matter. And so, if you don't agree with them, you're wrong. First and foremost, stop being idiots, America. If you see something that's wrong, stand up. Do what's right. Put the wrongdoer in check. It's not difficult. And yet we see it all the time, and we're expected to abjectly suffer. As the Constitution itself, the Declaration of Independence itself stated, they recognized that men are predisposed to suffer evils while evils are sufferable. Sure. And now we've got the chaos today where me and my fiance can go to the hospital, and the hospital, well, first we go to what's called prompt care for medical care. Prompt care can't poke at her wound, so they say, oh, well, you got to go to emergency room. Emergency room says, well, you can't have pills for the pain because we're subject to extreme scrutiny over opioids right now because the government's really worried about what it is that you've got inside your body when you're supposed to be secure in your person, property from unreasonable searches, seizures, incorporates the fact that you're supposed to be free to do what the fuck you want without interference with the police. They're only supposed to be there to fix when there is an injury, that somebody has been harmed. A man should not fear seeing the police if they are of a good character. And I don't just simply mean good as in religious morals. It's basic sense. Even the animals don't have a difficult time surviving, even if the children are left alone. Most animals do not raise their children. And yet we're saying that a human being, which is supposed to be smarter, needs 18 years now to be able to be identified as a human being? It is nonsense. I can guarantee you that the local kindergarten could fill the Walmart store in an hour and be happy to do it for $1. In the meantime, you've got people who are supposedly intelligent, who are so fed up with the nonsense that they don't want to crawl out of bed anymore. That's the reason why everybody's so fucking lazy. We're trying to escape when we know that there should have been a solution by now.